Hey, Coach, welcome to our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe down below and click up above. That way you'll be notified of everything that kind of comes through. If you're looking to win championships, if you're looking to have a messy basement like this, but a basement like this, go down over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. It's the resources, it's mentoring, it's the one-stop shop for basketball coaches. Go over and check it out. Have a great day. Hey, Coach, so glad you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed it a lot. Actually, if you did, subscribe and like, and then go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. All right. Welcome, the Basketball Leadership Podcast. I love this topic, Coach. Everyone knows logs on the fire because it's that time of year in December to put logs on the fire. I've been chopping some wood up at my lake house. It was
chop wood, carry water, right?
Yeah. Chopping woods, that's a good workout. That's a great workout, chopping wood. So if anybody wants a good workout, for old man.
I raked a lot of leaves the other day. We're recording this more in the and that gave me a good workout. I was using a lot of muscles I hadn't used in a while.
Yeah, I know. It's like people don't understand that if you live in the Midwest in late fall, trees are pretty until they start. It's like snow. It's like
it's a lot of work.
A lot of work.
Yeah, logs on the fire is just this I wrote a newsletter post on this, and it was really this concept of you got to keep putting logs on your fire to keep that burning and keep that edge. And it really was centered on Michael Jordan. And, the chip on the shoulder and the edge that athletes have, and they keep putting logs on the fire. So some of these, I mean, obviously Michael Jordan was cut from his, basketball team as a sophomore. He didn't make the varsity, and that gave him a chip. But there's a couple other ones when I was researching that I didn't know about. One was when he went to North Carolina. He's a freshman, and Coach Smith put on the cover of Sports Illustrated, he sent a group for a picture, and he basically put the four starters from, and didn't put Michael Jordan because he was a freshman. And even though Michael Jordan kind of knew he was going to start, he convinced himself like that was a chip, like he was slighted, even though he wasn't. He convinced himself he was, and it just added another log to his fire. His roommate at the University of North Carolina was another freshman that was like Mr. Basketball in the state of North Carolina. He was a really highly acclaimed recruit, not as much as, or more so than even Michael. And so Michael Jordan used that as another chip, another log that he used against him. And then when he went in the NBA, and I forget the coach. I think his first coach in the NBA. I don't know if it's Doug Collins or someone.
I wanted to say it was Doug Collins.
But they would scrimmage, and they'd have these competitive scrimmages, and there'd be conditioning or whatever to the loser, winner, however that would work. And he would switch Michael Jordan in the middle of the scrimmage. So Jordan's team would be up, in the middle of the scrimmage, and he would just switch Michael and put him on the other team, and make them come back with Michael on that team. And Michael used that as a chip or an edge or a log on his fire. So he was always looking for how he was being slighted, because he knew it gave him a mental edge, that he needed to win. And I think the best athletes, the best players do that, whether it's Tom Brady and not starting on an 0-8 freshman football team,
right?
And using that as a chip, or not being drafted, or not getting many scholarship offers until Michigan came into the picture. Aaron Rodgers was a late draft pick. The great ones have a chip, and they put these logs on the fire, and it's really a mental game.
I do that as a coach. Like,
totally.
I have to not like most of the coaches in my league. I mean, I need a chip. I need and one of my former assistants just got a job in the league, and that's gonna be a really hard one, because it's like, I know it's like, anyway, but it's like, you're right. You got to almost play the mental game with yourself.
Totally do. I have it going into this season. I mean, we're into the season as this podcast is going, but we graduated 9-10 seniors last year. We were second runner up in state. I know people think we lost everything, you know what I mean? But that's fine. I mean, it's more of a challenge for me. I had a kind of a funny story earlier this fall where our football team lost a game that they probably shouldn't have lost. And I was on this chat group with a coach, a good friend of mine, and then one of his assistants. And the assistant, as a joke, had asked the coach, "Hey, did you see that Lake City football score? You know, they lost to this team." And the quote from the coach was a preview of this winter. And he sent it to me as kind of a joke. It was just a joke, but I'm like, perfect. You're giving me ammo. Like, how
Right.
big of a poster can I put this on in my locker room?
I
You know what I
don't
mean?
like, I don't, yes. And it's like, and sometimes the good ones, I think like even this year's group with my team, it's like they think they're really good. They think they're going to win, and they're flying a little bit under the radar, which I think they like, but they're not boasting. They're not saying we're like, I think that's a good, there's self-motivation there.
Yep.
Um, and I think that's a good thing. It's that log. It's like whatever it takes to motivate. And it's like,
Eh,
um, yeah, I had a lad when I was a college player. It's like I wasn't playing and I wanted to play, and what could I use to get it, and what was going to be my motivation. And then I was playing, then I ended up being capped. It's like you have to use that stuff to just get yourself going. Like at times, I agree.
Yeah. We had that team that I've talked about that was real small, that 2016-17, that went to state. We were the team of twos. We were too short, we were too small, we were too young, we were too skinny. Like, everything was twos, but they won. And I mean, they competed. But you create that chip, and you create that edge. And that's part of our job as a coach, to build
To
that.
help them and help them get some logs.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story. We used to write pre the internet slash everything so accessible. We used to make fake articles out of newspapers from the other towns and post them in the locker room. And the kids didn't know because there was no virtual. You couldn't go
Yeah.
get X town's newspaper unless you lived there. And they
That's
never
funny.
figured it. They never figured it out. And it was exactly what we needed. And it wasn't anything that wouldn't have shown up in a paper,
Yeah.
but it was just enough. I had an assistant coach who was so good at it. It was like, all right, we're playing this big rival. We're in first, they're in second. We need an article. And he'd write it up and he'd cut and paste it and it would look just like it. And it's like, oh, they think we're blah, 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 blah. It's like, yep,
That's
yep. That's what the quote says.
those are
There's no way to
those are
check.
big time logs there.
I know those are big time logs. You have to do what you got to do sometimes.
Yeah.
All right. Until next week, coach.
See you, coach.